So it just starts slowly with a couple of pre-shots, and then it kind of cycles through a bit quicker.
Oh, ye of little faith.
So what happens?
It works.
So that's before, that's the after, with the supportive planting and everything like that, and then how we got from the first slide to the second slide was like this. Pre-works, stone toe work in the toe of the bank there. Created some pools, created some brash cover. EA volunteers shoveling gravel in. We put 20 tonnes of gravel into the river. Hundreds of sedge plants, spawning riffles, LWD, and got to that. In a matter of a couple of months. So, big win.
Excellent, thank you. So that, as Paul alluded to, that again demonstrates one of the things that I think we're very good at, which is this idea of working with others. In that case, it was Staffordshire Wildlife Trust, the Environment Agency and Groundworks that affected that project in, as Paul said, a couple of months. So the third demo I was going to give you was just to flit up to this Argyll workshop. So this again was a 3-day event that happened 2 weeks ago. Alan, was it?
3-ish, I think.
3, yes, okay. Which was some money that we scrounged out of a European project called IBIS, administered by the Lochs Agency in Northern Ireland. Slightly convoluted route. But anyway, they funded a 3-day event which we ran with Argyll Fisheries Trust on the west coast of Scotland. And it got together people from statutory agencies in Scotland, people from other fisheries trusts. So, for example, this is Kenny Galt from the River Tweed, who's a fisheries biologist. And it's got Gareth and Johnny Gray talking through examples of good habitat, what could be done to make life better for trout and other fishes, in fact, and then just getting on and doing the work as a demonstration event. So you can see, again, look at that, those are classic sort of forestry drains, straight as an arrow and heavily incised and just hostile until they're made more complex with little bits of wood and the like. But also, the conservation officers have done some really, for us, fairly major scale projects this year. And I've just thrown together a couple of examples. So these are where the conservation officers will work with local groups to get significant projects done in the river. Okay, so here are 2 examples. I've flitted off to the River Lark, where Andy Thomas came off the subs bench to replace a very famous river restorer called Dr. Nigel Holmes, who tragically died last year, in the autumn of last year. And so Andy subbed in to deliver this project with the Lark Angling and Preservation Society. Is that right, Glenn?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that's what the Lark looks like in bits. It's not all look like that, does it? No. But you can. This is a Suffolk chalk stream, by the way, and has been used and abused, and continues to be used and abused with abstraction, with pollution, and as you can see, with historic dredging. So Andy project managed a piece of work that was funded through the Environment Agency locally, brilliant Environment Agency officer on the ground, creating big soggy berms. So this is stuff that's just pushed in to create a big berm here, pinch the channel in, push it over to the far side, get it active again. So instead of that dead straight uniform, what looks like you might trot a float through for a chub becomes something that's a little bit more trouty. And then using a technique called dig and dump to introduce pools and gravel throats to those pools. The thing that was critical about this was having incredibly driven people on the ground, and Glenn Smithson, the guy on the left, is amongst us today, and that's the river that they have been left with, at least in this reach, after the work, something that starts to look much more like a trout stream. The guy on the right is called Tim Taylor, and he's one of those people, you know them, who knows this river like the back of his hand. So you can't appreciate from the photograph, but that is Tim Taylor, who knows this river like the back of his hand, having taken a dive in that river. That's him just emerging. And then my second example is to also stay in East Anglia, but on the River Glaven. And this is a project that Tim Jacklin project managed, again using Environment Agency funding, to put a channel around an online lake.